So today we're going to be going over Zapier and specifically an overview of spreadsheet and CRM integrations with Zapier. So a couple of tools we're going to be talking about include Airtable, Google Sheets, HubSpot, and MailChimp. So what is Zapier? Zapier is a automation tool, which is a software as a service. Zapier integrates various apps, web apps, mobile applications, and is able to perform certain actions and automate your workflow. This can apply to whether you're a small business, larger corporation, or just a single user wanting to automate certain tasks in your life. So a couple of the app connections that Zapier has include spreadsheets, which is like Google Sheets, Airtable, what have you, and emails. So Yahoo, Google Mail, a bunch of service providers. CRMs, which include HubSpot and MailChimp, and website hosting like Netlify, and social media like Twitter, Facebook. So how Zapier actually works is through workflow automations. The two keywords here are triggers and actions. So what is a trigger and what is an action? A trigger, as the name would suggest, is something that happens in one of your app connections that triggers Zapier to perform an action. So let's take an example, a spreadsheet. What would a trigger in a spreadsheet be? Say, for example, you update a new row, or you update a row, or you create a new row. This would cause Zapier to perform an action like maybe send an email, put a contact in HubSpot, or whatever you wanted to do associated with that trigger. So one trigger can have multiple actions. You can have multiple triggers leading up to a single action. The possibilities are pretty wide and varied with Zapier. So here's a little graphic of what Zapier can do and an example of what it does. So here, the trigger is when I get a new email in Gmail. So Zapier will automatically query Gmail with the time frame that you give it, say 1 minute, 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, whatever you want it to do. And when it sees that you got a new email with certain parameters, it can do certain actions. Sorry about that, a little technical difficulty. So one of the actions here is that it copies an attachment from Gmail to Dropbox. This is pretty cool because Zapier can go into that email that you got, check for an attachment, put that attachment into Dropbox, and you can even set permissions within Dropbox. Say you wanted to put it into a certain folder and only share it with these people. Zapier is pretty powerful in that sense, in that if you give Zapier the access to your apps and to your integrations, then it's able to do a lot of things and automate your workflow and make your life a little easier. Another cool thing with Zapier is it can integrate with things like Slack and Gmail or other things to send you notifications. So if you want to know every time one of your zaps goes through, then you can say, hey, alert me in Slack about this new Dropbox file that just got added. So that's one of the big, those are some of the big advantages of Zapier. You can start workflows from any app, aka you can pick a trigger that sets your zap into motion. You can finish routine tasks automatically. This will free up your time, free up certain mundane tasks that you had to spend a lot of time doing. So it can complete those mundane actions while you solve more important problems that require actual thinking. And another good thing about Zapier is that it's simple and fill in the blank set. So as I said before, it's a software as a service and it involves no code. All you have to do is point, click, and automate. You just have to click on the things that you want and Zapier will do the rest for you. So let's go over a couple of zaps and create a zap on our own. All right. So I'm on my personal Zapier account right now, and let's try setting up a zap. So once you're in your dashboard, you can navigate over to make a zap. Once you're in this screen, you can first choose when this happens, aka this is the trigger that I was talking about earlier. So how about let's do a Trello trigger. So here I've chosen the app Trello, but as you can see, there's a lot of options that you can choose. In case anybody doesn't know, Trello is a project management software where you can sort of set certain tasks and stuff like that. I'm just going to use this as a trigger to show what Zapier can do. So what do I want my trigger event to be? So this isn't just like one or two things. Zapier has a multitude of things that can happen, a multitude of things you can use as triggers. So for example, some of these are card updated, new notification, new card, etc. So for this one, I'm going to use new card. and that's the trigger. So I have to choose an account. So I've already set up my account beforehand. And in these, for all of these triggers, you're going to have to choose which account you want to use. And that's how Zapier gets permissions to do what it does. All right, and as it says, Trello is a secure partner with Zapier. All of these apps are secure, and none of your data will be compromised. Right, and here you can customize your card. So as I said before, Zapier is a powerful tool, and if you give it the access, it can do a lot of things. So I can choose which board I wanted to check. So I have a multitude of boards. I'm just going to choose any random board. All right, I can choose a list within that board. All right. And I can even set filters. So if the Trello card is open, if it's closed, if it's all Trello cards. I'll just leave it as open. I'll continue. And now I can test the connection. So this will allow Zapier to go through and find a card. And as you can see, the green check mark appeared, which means that Zapier did its job. So now we can do an action. So that was a trigger. Next step is doing an action. So what do I want to do when a new card is set in Trello? Let's see, I could send an email to myself. All right, so I choose the app email. So for Gmail, sorry. And there's a certain amount of things I can do. I wanted to send an email to me. We can move forward with that. And then I have to sign into my Gmail. Right. There we go. This is that. Now I can customize my email. So who do I want to send it to? Obviously, in this case, I want to send it to myself, but you could easily allow it to send it to anybody you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and send this to myself. You can CC, BCC, all the good stuff that you can normally do with Gmail. I wanted to send it from myself to myself. From name, so you could even set the name it appears as. So if I just want my name to show up here, I'm just going to say from Machinair. Reply to, subject. So certain fields are required, and Zapier will let you know which ones are. So what do I want the subject to be? Trello card, new Trello card. All right, the body type is plain, body is required. Hey, you have a new Trello card. You can set any kind of message you want, and you can even show the card that was created. Yep, there you go. And I can set any number of labels I want. I can attach things, etc. So continue with that, and I can send a test to myself. Let's see if that works. All right, my Zap is ready. Let's see if the test went through. There we go. New Trello card. And it's as easy as that. All right, so now that we've created a Zap, I'm going to go ahead and show a couple of Zaps that I've created in the past that specifically work with spreadsheets and CRMs. So let me navigate over there. All right. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the Airtable and HubSpot integrations. Let's give it a second to load. All right. So this is a Zap I've set up in the past. This has one trigger and two actions. So what is a trigger? For this specific Zap, the trigger is Airtable. So Airtable is a spreadsheet software, a no-code spreadsheet software that's just pretty similar to Google Sheets. And what I wanted to do here, I wanted to trigger when a new record is available in a view. So in Airtable, you can set up certain filters and certain views that allow you only to check certain data that has certain parameters. So moving forward here, I can see that I can set up which Airtable I want. All right, I can set up which base, which table, and which view. So in this specific case, I have a base called interested parties. I have a table called form input, and I have a view called newsletter signups. So I want people that have inputted their information in that form, and I only want the view of people who said they wanted to sign up for a newsletter. So going forward with this, I can see that records were pulled, and the test is working. So that was the trigger. Let's see what the action was. So this is where the CRM comes in. This specific CRM I want to use is HubSpot. Going forward with that, I wanted to create or update a contact within HubSpot. All right. Choosing the HubSpot. So I can choose from the Airtable data what I want to go into HubSpot. So this is another cool thing about Zapier is that it can, for the actions, it can take stuff from the trigger. So as you can see, the contact email is something I pulled from the trigger, from that Airtable. So I can send an email to that, or send HubSpot the email that I want. So I can put in the email, I can put in the first name. So there's a whole lot of things you can do with HubSpot, but I'm only going to go through a few for now. So email, first name, the message, the company name, and etc. Boom, test was successful. So this got added to HubSpot. Then I can also do multiple actions for a single trigger. So I don't want to just create this contact. I want to add this contact to a specific list in HubSpot. So let's move forward with that. This, as you can see, for the create options, I've already done create or update a contact. This time I want to add that contact to a list. So here, I've made a list called TruthCon 2020. I can add that contact to that list. Boom, test was successful. So just as a summary, what we did here, we checked for a new record in Airtable. We created a contact in HubSpot using that information from Airtable, and then we put that contact to a list. So thinking about this in a business use case, say you have a form that hundreds, maybe millions of people submit in a day, and you can't go through and manually add these contacts to HubSpot. That's where Zapier comes in. You want to add this to your CRM, all you have to do, set this up, takes maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then HubSpot will automatically keep checking your Airtable, keep checking your Google Sheet, put that information in HubSpot, put that in wherever you want to put it, and saves maybe hundreds of hours of work on your end. That's where Zapier truly shines. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here and just show you guys one more Zap. So this is a similar Zap that also draws from Airtable. This time I want to send an email to whoever submitted a form in my Airtable. So new record, whenever someone creates a new record, submits a form, Zapier will check Airtable, see if there's a new record, and start the trigger. So we can choose the Airtable. As I said before, you can choose the base, you can choose the table. So same deal here. And let's see. All right, I pulled a couple records. And that's it. And let's go to the action. So this time I want to send an email. So I can choose whichever email provider I want. But as you can see, there's a bunch of different email providers and different actions you can do. Let's move on. You can send an email, create a draft. This time I want to send an email. And I can set whichever parameters I want. So I can set the from name, I can set the subject, I can set the body, and go ahead. All right, send test. Let's see if I got it. Boom, there you go. And that's that. So that's a quick overview of Zapier. As you guys can see, it's a great tool to automate aspects of your life, aspects of your business. It can save you a lot of time. At this point, I'd like to ask if anybody has any questions about Zapier, anything they want clarification on.
Why should somebody use Zapier instead of IFTTT?
So one advantage Zapier has is that it's more geared towards business and enterprise users. From what I know, if this then that is more of a personal use kind of thing. I could be wrong, but from what I've used as Zapier, it's more industry grade in that you can have hundreds of apps integrated, and you can also handle a large amount of workflow and customize, say, how often you want to query. So do I want to do it every 1 minute? Do I ever want to do it every 5 minutes? And you can also customize within the triggers, within the actions. From what I've seen, it's a bit more robust than IFTT, however you say that acronym.
Thanks.
All right, any other questions?
Sure. You've given us some examples here, and I just wanted to know if this could be used for, let's say, non-tech companies, for example. Are there workflows that it could be useful for?
Sure, that's a great question. So let's go back into Zapier. Okay, let's make this app. So if you want a non-tech company to use Zapier, as you can see, there's a lot of apps that Zapier can use. Let's think of an example for a non-technical, from a non-technical perspective. So let's see. Yeah, okay, so non-technical people, even non-technical businesses use Gmail and email providers a lot. So say you want certain attachments from your email provider or from your Gmail to go to a cloud. So say you're getting documents, you're getting sensitive documents or like business plans, whatever it is, in your Gmail. And you want that to go to Google Doc or Google Drive or Dropbox or PandaDoc, you can easily set that up so you don't have to, for a non-technical person, you don't have to go download the attachment, move that to Dropbox, move that to Google Drive, and waste your time that way. So in that sense, it's actually even better for non-technical people because you just have to set this up once. You don't have to keep doing this again and again and again. Because Zapier will just do that all for you. It's just the effort of doing it once, and as you can see, it's just pressing a couple buttons. It's a pretty easy way to do it. So I think this would be pretty useful for non-technical people as well. All right, thanks everyone for coming. All right, if there are no other questions, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you everybody for coming, and I hope you learned a little bit about Zapier today.